the Jface part. So in the interest of time, I will just hurry this up a little. So what basically this slide says is that SWT is the core, and over that Jface. Jface was, you can compare and contrast. It's not an exact one-to-one comparison, but it is, Jface is what swing is to, Jface is to SWT what swing is to AWT, which is built, it builds over the primary set of widgets that are there and enhances it with a rich set of user controls. These are all developed in Java, and these set of controls also deal with one more aspect, which is when you pass control to the native widgets, you can only deal with basic data types in terms of passing controls to the native widgets in terms of strings or integers. But when you have to actually say, I have set up people or an organization data model that you want to display in the GUI, then SWT can't deal with it. There has to be one more layer which takes care of this impedance mismatch between an object-oriented data model and the raw data model that SWT can understand. And that is exactly where Jface fits in. RCP, or the plugins, Eclipse plugins, extends over and above Jface and brings in, adds OSGI specific modularity, extensibility over and above the widget toolkits that Jface provides, and that is what can be used for your Eclipse plugins. Now, let's do one Jface demo. Let's quickly do a sorry, I have to do a new Java project. Okay. So again, in the interest of time, I have written code for this, which will work fine for Jface. Okay, now let's delete this. Again, I have intentionally shown the errors that will come in. One, of course, we will have to add the SWT jar, because Jface builds over and above the SWT. Now, there are a list of Jface specific things that have been highlighted here, and the way to overcome those is you go to the Eclipse installation. Eclipse Indigo is what I have been installed, and you will have to add a certain set of Eclipse jars, which are those Eclipse core commands, Eclipse core runtime, Then there are Jface, ORG Eclipse, Jface specific jars. Okay, so all these errors have disappeared. I'll just first quickly run this to find out how this renders. Oh, okay. Whereas Eclipse ORG core runtime iSafe runnable. Okay, there is one more jar that I will have to add to this. Just give me a second. Oops. Okay, fine. So there are Jface specific few jars that I have added. Obviously, the list runs large. So there is what, as you probably figured out while I was resolving those errors, one of the core thing is Jface builds on top of SWT, and I had intentionally created that error just to drive that point, that first you need to have the SWT runtime in path before you build, before you embark on producing Jface applications. And then there are a whole list of Jface specific jars that, as you saw, that I had to add into the runtime. Just to recollect that, there are core commands, core runtime, Jface specific, there are a couple of jars, and then text and equinox that needs to be added. So what basically I have used is, I have used a list viewer control that is there in the Jface. And what I have tried to do is, I have tried to display not a simple data type, but an organized data type, which is what I have seen. If you see this, there is set input of this list thing. I have set an organization data type, which is what I have developed here. Okay. This is a standard Java class that I have developed. And then, of course, with each control, for example, here list, there is again, there is a tree control. You have certain concepts called as providers, which provides the inputs. Then there is a sorter, which allows you to sort the data. This is what I have just done here. And of course, as I was mentioning some time back, if you see this, there is a double-click listener. As I was mentioning, the name of the listeners and the adapters are very close to the event that they handle in SWT and Jface. So this is what this highlights. And of course, rest everything follows the basic SWT approach because it's nothing but it builds over and above SWT. Now, in the interest of time, I'll just, as promised uh, in the original agenda of this particular webinar, that I'll show you how to develop your own plugin. So, which is what I will just quickly proceed to do. New project, and I have chosen new plugin development project. New Hello plugin. Next. I'll just talk about what each thing is in a little while. What do I want to do? I want to do, these are certain set of standard templates, which is what I had in mind for this short webinar that we have, because developing a plugin is a very complex and not so complex, but it does take quite a bit of time, which may not be in the best interest of everybody here. So which is what I'm doing. I'm using one existing template to do this. Click the finish button. Just look out for a prompt that Eclipse would give that I was mentioning earlier. You saw this? This kind of open associated perspective. This was the prompt that I was talking earlier, that each type of perspective is conducive for doing a certain activity for which it has been built for. Now, Java perspective, obviously, this from the nature of the prompt that Eclipse is giving to you, it says that you can't do development of the plugin using this perspective. So it is asking you to switch the perspective. Let's click, I'll say remember my decision, and I click yes. Okay. Okay. So now we are all set. Let's see how we can run this. I just clicked on a link. I'll just bear with myself. I'll just go into the nuances of what that plugin has and things like that. But before that, let's just run this plugin. I just want you to have in mind what are the controls that got produced with this and how these got produced. One of the things while this Eclipse is running and launching itself, one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that for running, what we are producing here was not a standalone program. It was a plugin which needs to be run under a parent container, which is an Eclipse IDE. So when you click on the launch Eclipse application, what Eclipse is doing is it will launch an Eclipse, a different instance of Eclipse IDE, and then within that particular Eclipse IDE instance, it would load these particular plugins that you have developed. So that is exactly the reason why Eclipse is launching a plugin. Okay, if you see this, you all see the sample menu and this say hello world. This is what our hello world plugin has produced. Now, what will happen if I were to just click that? It will say hello Eclipse world. And just remember this hello plugin title. I'll show that in a little while. So we'll just close this and go into the details of what exactly was happening here. Now, for this, what has been opened here, for every Eclipse plugin that we produce, there needs to be a file which captures the metadata, the data about the nature of the plugin, the dependencies it has on other plugins, and so on and so forth. So what currently is being displayed is a plugin editor, plugin manifest editor, which in a very GUI fashion is capturing all the inputs that needs to be populated into the metadata. ID is hello plugin is what I've mentioned. This needs to be unique for every plugin because Eclipse loads and identifies the plugin using the combination of plugin and the provider. So ideally what many people do is using the packages and the class names for their respective plugins. Activator is the actual plugin class. The plugin class is called the activator. Sometimes it is also plugin and bundle is the terminologies are used interchangeably. Sometimes you could also hear people referring to as a bundle activator. Activate this plugin when one of its classes is loaded, which is what is, and this plugin is a singleton. Dependencies. What are the other plugins on which this plugin depends on? UI, obviously, because we added menus and a toolbar button. That all comes from this ORG Eclipse UI. And core runtime. In case this plugin depends on another, let's say Java class, say you wanted to do some kind of logging, maybe you wanted to do logging using Log4j. In such a case, you would add the class path library here, and these would get also this particular jar would also get packaged as part of your plugin jar. Note that there are one significant difference between adding jars to the class path that I have shown earlier to adding it into the class path that is being shown here. What is being shown here, runtime, is what is required for running of the plugin, and that is different from the compilation class path that we have added earlier. So more often than not, you would require adding jars in both places. Extensions. So what is this plugin extending on? As I was mentioning earlier, that this entire plugin framework is built in a very extensible format. The extensibility is at the heart of this entire framework. Now, what we would suppose we wanted to do is add a menu. Now, there is a plugin which displays the entire menu bar. Now, what you are doing is you are extending that particular menu. So, which is what using UI menus, we extended it. And UI commands, UI handlers, all of these, we have extended it, and that is the reason why these are extensions. Extension points, this is another important thing, which we'll not, which we can't cover in the duration of this time, but extension points is if you want to expose some of the extensions so that somebody else can extend your plugin, then this is what comes as extension points. This is a very complex and one of the less documented part in the Eclipse, where you would have to build a schema and then expose that. It's a little tedious and very involved process. Build what exactly you want to get packaged as part of this plugin. So we have chosen to only package manifest plugin XMLs, and then manifest MF. So this is what we just wanted to show. Bundle name, as I was mentioning earlier, plugin and bundle is used interchangeably. Bundle name or plugin name is the hello plugin. Bundle activator, as I was mentioning earlier, same as the plugin activator or the main plugin class, which is what gets loaded. And lazy, this is an important concept because plugin loading is a very intensive operation. Eclipse makes sure that it doesn't load all the required plugins at one shot, but it will load only on need basis. So that is what this is. And okay, now extension points I was just mentioning, right? So what if you saw that the menu, it said a sample command. So what this is doing is it's documenting all of that. It's saying that I have extended, the way to read this is, I am extending the extension point UI commands, and categories, I have added a command called as sample command. Okay, and the handler for that, I'm extending it and providing my own handler. And for menus also, there is a sample menu, which is what I have just added. Now, this is the main plugin class. All plugins, there are two ways to extend a plugin class, or produce a plugin class. One is using abstract UI plugin, and then there's a plugin interface. Abstract UI plugin takes care of a lot of low-level details that you would otherwise have to deal with. Abstract UI, as the name says, is an abstract class. There are two particular methods that that concern the life cycle of the plugin. Start, this is what gets control whenever this plugin is activated, and stop when the plugin is getting shut down. So if you want, we will just, I'm not sure if we don't have that much time, so we can just add system out println here, and when we run it, we can see here, which will show that this whenever plugin is loaded, it will invoke the start method, and whenever it's not, whenever it is shut down, it will invoke the stop method. As you can see, it's a bare bone version of the code, so it doesn't have much of the logic. And the handler, so what exactly does, when did that handler get invoked? Whenever we clicked on the menu or on the toolbar button, what did it do? All it displayed was hello plugin and hello Eclipse world. I was mentioning some time back to remember the window title. See, this is what is there. And this is hello Eclipse world. Okay, so as you one other concept before I just open it up for questions.